What if I told you that chaos is not blocking your manifestations? It might actually be where they begin. Most people believe that in order to manifest, you've got to be in your Zen moment. You've got to have everything lined up. You've got to have your ducks in a row. You've got to have everything perfectly aligned in order for manifestation to work. But did you know that is absolutely not true? Yes, you can manifest in those states as well, but you can absolutely, and most importantly, manifest during chaos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Janice. This is Letting Your Light Shine. I'm also author of Manifesting During the Chaos, a book that I will link below if you are interested in that. Question that I get asked the most from my clients is, how do I manifest more money? Well, okay, let's talk about that. Let's do it. Let's manifest more money for you. And I'll say the first question I ask them is, what are your thoughts on money? What are your beliefs in money? And 95% of the time, I have the short amount of people that do believe a little bit differently about it, but the majority of the time, people will say to me, I just don't have enough money. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. I have no idea. I'm so frustrated. I'm so angry. My husband doesn't work enough hours. We never have enough. We're negative 600 in our account. I don't know how I'm going to pay for groceries this week. It goes on and on. And then I stop them and I go, okay, what if I said that we can shift that and turn those thought patterns around to where you will start seeing money come into your life unexpectedly from sources you had no idea that existed, and you're able to shift your mindset and actually have more than enough money to pay your bills. Oh my gosh, Janice, sign me up. Okay, well, let's talk about how we're going to do that. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is you've got to set your intention, and you have to believe, you've got to embody with every cell in your vessel that you are worthy of and having enough money. Don't limit it to an amount of money. Don't say, okay, I wish I had an extra $1,000. You know what? Think big, think huge, because what you ask for, you shall receive. I just got chills. Ooh, I love that. The universe will answer to every single question that we put out there, and it will be answered in the exact way we ask the question. I'm not going to have enough money. Okay, you don't want enough money. You're telling me you don't have enough money. Well, guess what? We're going to make sure that you don't have enough money. What you think about, you bring about. So if you're constantly thinking about having a shortage of money in your account, you're never going to have enough money. Manifestation is actually one of the easy tips and tricks out there. And most people believe that you've got to be one of these not foo-foo, what's the word? Woo-woo people. Sorry. I see that going around the internet and it just makes me laugh. You know what? I guess if I'm a woo-woo person, if I'm a woo-woo kind of girl, okay, well, stick around because it's going to get fun. Most people think that money is only for the rich people, or money is handed to people on a silver platter. Okay, sometimes that's the case, but you know what? Every single human being on this planet can manifest and have anything they want. Anything. I'm talking millions of dollars, not just hundreds of dollars. You can absolutely manifest whatever you want, but you've got to shift your mindset and you've got to embody that. You've got to feel that you've got that money in your account, even if your bank account is telling you otherwise, because bank accounts lie. There's days that I remember going back going, oh my gosh, how in the world did I get this money in my account? Like, it just endless possibilities. Maybe you got a refund. Maybe you got an unexpected check in the mail from, class action settlement you knew nothing about. Regardless of the value, it is absolutely essential that you've got to focus your mindset on money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and from sources that I don't even know. Because it's not your job to figure out where the money comes from. It's not your job. Your job is simply to believe. You ask, you believe, and you receive. That is your job. That's a pretty simple job, actually. I remember when I was younger and my kids were younger, I remember planning these budgets every single week when it was payday week, whether it was, my check, my ex-husband's check, or whatever the case is. I would sit there and maneuver the numbers consistently because I'm like, why do I not have enough money? I can't even pay for $20 for my kids' school pictures. Like, I'm just like, what the heck? And then it shifted. I woke up one day and I said, now what in the world am I doing? I am asking the universe to match my belief, and that is, I don't have enough money. So, do you know, from that moment on, it's been 15, 20 years, I decided that I was never going to worry about how I was going to pay my bills. I was just going to know with every ounce of my being that that money was going to show up for me. And it has every single time. And then some. And I just got chills again. I love this. Thank you, universe. It'll show up for you and you won't even have to try. It's the trying, because when we try and we try to figure out where money is coming from, guess what? We're trying to control something that is really beyond our control. Source, universe, God, whomever you look up to, there is one source out there, and that is going to give you and I anything we desire if you believe it with everything that you own. Okay? Don't think about how you're not going to have enough money to pay your bills. Know that you will have enough money to pay your bills. In fact, shift that into believing that you will, but also add gratitude, because gratitude is the number one thing that really propels manifestation. I've seen that in my life. The more grateful I am for anything, the more money shows up for me. So when I get paid from my clients, because I don't have a typical 9 to 5 job, and I will earn income whether I'm sleeping, whether I'm sitting, whether I'm talking, whatever. So it's just literally day by day. It's a new surprise, and I freaking love it. So I just know, okay, the night before I go to bed, the next day I've got these bills that I've got to pay. And I just know with every ounce of my being that I will have the money to pay those bills. And I had more than enough money show up time and time again to pay those bills. And it was because I believed with everything of my being. I embodied the feeling of knowing that I was paying my bills with grace. And I'm sure you all know Rhonda Byrne, author of The Secret. She has a book out there, The Countdown to Riches. It's a beautiful book. Read it. And it gives you all kinds of tips about how you can, manifest, write letters to yourself, write a gratitude journal. So I had something come up. This was January of this year. Was it January? Yeah. January of this year. So I had something come up and I was like, oh, well, this will be fun because I got to come up with about $11,000 by the end of January. And I said, okay, let's do this. Not one time did I flinch. Not one time did I sit there and freak out and go, oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to manifest this money? Right? In no time did I do that. I just simply wrote every single morning in my gratitude journal. Well, I start with my coffee Bible moment. That is always, always first and foremost in my morning routine. And then I follow it up with gratitude journal. And I just write down anything and everything I'm grateful for. And it could be something for me. I feel like I write it over and over. It's like the birds singing in the morning at 5 o'clock a.m. I just find that so beautiful. So I find that to be something I'm consistently grateful for. And would you know that I just cannot have enough birds around here because they flock and they like literally knock on my window on my patio. It's hilarious, but I also do feed them. And so anyway, I said I will let the universe do its magic. I know with every ounce of my being that I will manifest this money and I will pay the money that I need to pay for something, and I will do it with love, grace, certainty, positivity, and love. And I did just that. And would you know that not only did I get that money, I got an extra $3,500 on top of that. I will be it's weird. So manifestation to me, and some of you might think I'm a little cuckoo, and that's okay. I love you anyway. I think of manifestation as having a child, because when we go through childbirth, we know that it's very painful, right? We know, and in life, chaotic moments are very, very painful. But here's the thing: when you manifest, and you get exactly what you're asking for and then some, because it usually is always more than you ask for anyway. um, you literally forget the pain that you went through, as in childbirth. I cannot tell you what childbirth feels like. I know that it was painful, but I cannot tell you. And I remember when my son was born 37 years ago, I remember holding him and I remember being in a lot of pain. I remember the epidural. It was too late to get because he was crowning. And so I had to go through that natural childbirth. And I remember in the moment it was very painful, but today I cannot tell you what that felt like. I don't remember the pain. It's the same concept with manifestation. You go through hard times and you don't know how you're going to get through it. But then when you manifest what your desires are, you look back and go, "Oh my gosh, like I don't even remember what happened and how I got this." Same thing. You guys, several of you guys know my story about getting out of an abusive narcissistic relationship, which was now 4 years. Oh my gosh, it's been over 4 years. Holy crap, this is amazing. 4 years. So my story back then was I knew in my heart that I had to get out of this abusive relationship because um, it was just destroying. It was destroying my life, my everything. So, and I'll just make this very very brief. But at that time, so in 22, I bought a house and I put $2,000 down on my house because that was the earnest money I had to put down, and it was not going to be mine for another 3 months, I think it was. So I knew in 3 months that I had to come up with $30,000. And do you know? I signed the paper anyway. I said, okay, I'll have the money for you. Didn't even think twice about it. Same situation in 22. I wanted out of that relationship so bad. So my main focus was just making sure that I was thinking clearly, positively. I was thinking of nothing but good thoughts, and I only manifested greatness. And do you know, I did. I manifested every dime of that money in that short amount of time. And I mean, I remember working really, really hard. And, I always like to work hard, but I know, especially during that time, which helped me to not focus on that person because I knew I was leaving. And I manifested it by the grace of God. And to this day, I tell my story, and to this day, I have no idea where this money came from. It just kept showing up. It kept showing up and showing up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so grateful. So 4 years later, here I am, and I have never been happier. And everything just continues to get better and better and better for me. So I just want you to keep your focus on what you can focus on and not think of all the negative stuff out there, because that's what you're going to bring to you. Okay. Um, if you've got something coming up, a test that you're going to take at school or an exam, don't worry about, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail this. No, that is not an option. That is not an option. And that's one of the things that I've taught my children. And I've taught them that, you know what, failure is not an option. It's just not, because there is always, always an answer and a solution. If you manifest and you think only good thoughts, the answers will come to you, and they will come in such a great way that you won't even realize that what you wanted and what you got was so much different, because what you got was far above your expectations. That is manifestation. So moving forward, no matter what you're going through in life, no matter what you're struggling with, this too shall pass. Nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. So you can enjoy your life. You can continue to wake up and have an attitude of gratitude. Go through your day, and the second you get a negative thought in your mind, stop, replace it with something beautiful, something positive, and just know, with just every bit of your knowing, right? Especially women, we have this gut instinct, and I know men do too. I mean, we're all, you know, made special that we would know when something's good or when something's bad. But you know what? Same thing. With every bit of your knowing that you are going to get that car, or you're going to get that dream house. Live in the moment of being in that situation. Live in the moment. If you're trying to manifest a new house, drive by the neighborhood of the house that you want. Sit there, look at it, manifest it. Just say, this is my home. This is my home. I did that with my black beautiful truck out here. I just, I said, you know what? I want a 2025 Chevy Silverado. So you know what I did? I went in November of 24 and I said, I want that black brand new Chevy Silverado. And he goes, okay, do you know the price? I said, I don't care. Give it to me. I want it. Signed the paper, signed up for all the warranty, which I know the dealers make a ton of money. I didn't care. I wanted peace of mind. And you know what? That is the best investment that I've made, because I did it primarily for my grandbabies because I carry them around. But now I look back and go, how did I never have a truck before? Like, what? If you don't have a truck, get a truck. You're going to love it. Anyway, I love my truck. And I look at it every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I manifested this. Just like, and then I started thinking, every car that I had before that, I manifested. Before I had that, I had a white Hyundai Santa Fe, which blew up. Y'all know that story, which is why I have this. I said, sorry, Hyundai, I'm going to Chevy. I did want that. I wanted a white Hyundai. I got that. I even started to think back to earlier in my life. No matter what car I have driven, actually in my entire life, I've manifested. I mean, it's just crazy. So you can have anything you want, and the world will shift and move to make things happen for you. It is not your job to figure it out. I think that's where manifestation goes wrong for so many people, because they try to figure out the details. Manifestation is not about figuring out the details. It's about believing, knowing, and waiting to receive. And you may not get it for the next 5 hours. You can't manifest and go, okay, I want something to show up by 5 o'clock tonight. That's putting conditions on something that you have no control over. Okay. You don't get to choose when things show up. You just get to believe that they will, and they will show up. So, same with health. If you have health issues, don't go around saying, I don't feel good. Well, if you don't feel good, you're not going to feel good. I get it. A lot of people have, medical issues. They need to be medicated on everything like that. But you know what? Instead of saying you're in pain and you don't know how you're going to get through the day, I am so grateful for my healthy body. I am so grateful that I feel good today. And before you even get out of bed, because then you're putting your intention that you're going to feel good today. And if you just really focus on your thought patterns, things will begin to change. Um, I want to end with something one of my girlfriends gave me. So she gave me, oh, I don't have it here. I think it's in my other room. So she gave me 2 jars, and you can easily make these. And one of them says, give it to God, and the other one says, trust and believe. So when you have an issue, write it on a sticky note and put it in to the little container that says, give it to God, give it to the universe, give it to source, whomever. And you just write it down, because you're getting it off your thoughts, and you're putting it on a piece of paper and you're putting it away. That's to allow the universe to work. Okay. Do that. And then in the other jar, when you get that result of your manifestation, go ahead then and write a gratitude note for that. What did you receive? Let's say you manifested a new position at work. Okay. You really wanted this position, and you put it in your give it to the universe box or give it to God box. And you say, I trust and believe that I have a new position at work. That's it. And you put it in there. And then when you get that new position, you remember that you manifested that, and you put a gratitude note into the other box. And I'm telling you, if you do that, you will see how many times you've requested or manifested something and it came to fruition, because you have proof in your gratitude box. That is one of the best gifts that she has given to me. It is so amazing. I sit there and it's so crazy, because I'll like pull one out from a couple years ago and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally remember that. That is when you're writing your intention, you're releasing it. So you're now allowing the universe to bring everything that you desire. Mindset is key. Embodying is even more key, and living in the moment and knowing with every ounce of your being that you will get what you think about. Okay. Think about the genie. You rub the lamp. Your wish is my command. Yes, that's what the universe is saying. I want more money. You want more money? We're going to get you more money. I want to be broke, or I'm going to be broke my whole life. Okay, you're asking to be broke your whole life. Well, the universe is going to match your intention. So you've got to change your mindset. And we we get off on our thoughts many times a day because we get interruptions, the phone rings, something happens, whatever. So we don't get to clearly think all the time. But when you do get a negative thought into your brain, you can immediately change it and erase it. Okay. Just delete, replace. Just like you're getting ready to send a text and go, oh, that doesn't sound good. Let me delete that, rewrite it. Same thing. You can delete what you don't want in your head, and you can rewire your brain to believe and receive. You've just got to believe. All right. You've got this. Shine your light. Until next time, we will be back. If you guys are having any issues on manifestation, or you need some other techniques, let me know. I will link my book in the description below. Feel free to pick that up, Manifesting During the Chaos, for people that are going through divorce, breakup, job loss, loss of a family member, or any just chaotic times. All right. You can manifest your entire life, which will be great, will be amazing. And you're going to look back and go, I did it. And it's very simple. It's a very simple technique. People make it out harder. People make it seem harder than it really is, and it really isn't. So, all right, let's manifest greatness, guys. Love you all.